Walt Disney was a man whose leadership completely changed the world of animation, taking it from a small, little-known medium and transforming it into a type of entertainment loved by many. His passion and ambition to push animation to its full potential produced many great works, and he inspired his co-workers and competitors to follow his lead. He was committed and dedicated to his work, and he could spread his love of animation to those around him. With his open mind, his confidence, his large influence in the creation of his studio's movies, and the ability to inspire those who watched his films, he became a pioneer in the animated film industry.
Walt Disney was born on December 5, 1901. At an early age, he became interested in drawing. After completing high school, he decided to pursue a career in art and began his career as an advertising cartoonist in Kansas City. While he worked, Walt became interested in animation, and in January of 1920, he and his friend decided to open their own animation business called Laugh-O-Gram Studio. The cartoons he and his team created were wildly popular in the Kansas City area, but the profits made from the cartoons weren't enough to pay the employees, and the studio went bankrupt in 1923. With the closure of Laugh-O-Gram Studio, Walt's first failure didn't stop his perseverance. He moved to Hollywood to pursue his career.
Disney decided to base a new character on a mouse he had adopted as a pet in a studio in Kansas. Mickey Mouse starred in his first animated short called Plain Crazy in 1928. Unfortunately, distributors showed little interest in the cartoon because of the expense and the similarities to other cartoons. What saved the studio was sound. In 1928, Disney took his newest short, Steamboat Willie, to New York to record a soundtrack. This made Steamboat Willie the first cartoon to have synchronized dialogue. This was his breakthrough in the world of animation. It became a huge success, and it led to all the subsequent Mickey cartoons being released with soundtracks. He found a distributor easily, and his popularity grew at a rapid pace, bringing the Disney studio to the forefront of animation. This success allowed Disney to begin a revolutionary program of recruitments, training, and research. During the 1930s, virtually every principle and method of animation was discovered, invented, or refined at the studio, and every cartoon represented some kind of breakthrough. In 1932, a short called Flowers and Trees was released, the first commercially released film to be in full-color, three-strip Technicolor. Mickey Mouse spurred Walt Disney's career and led the way for more great things to come.
The work Disney did on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in the 1930s is one of the best examples of his leadership. During this time, Disney showed incredible drive and passion, creating a great film that was a technical and financial success. He led his workers with great passion and spirit, which made the animators trust his business judgment and creative decisions. He was very directive, refusing to tolerate things done in a different way than he had envisioned. He always had to be in total control of the team. The project took 5 years of work, involving hundreds of crew members and over 2 million sketches and paintings. This marked the first major use of a Disney innovation, the multiplane camera, giving the illusion of depth by allowing 3 to 7 cells to be photographed in the same frame. The camera became a key tool for all studios making animated features from then on. Snow White became the first movie to include its own soundtrack, including the various songs sung in the movie. Before, animation was dismissed as crudely drawn short films meant for only small children. Snow White completely changed what was possible for an animated film. An animator working for Disney at the time said that Disney only had one rule: whatever you did had to be done better than anyone else could do it, even if you had to animate it 9 times, as I once did.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs had sparked something called the Golden Age of animation. During this time, feature-length animation became more popular and theatrical animated shorts slowly began losing to the new medium of television animation. Work proceeded on the movies Pinocchio and Fantasia, which were both very costly projects. Both of these movies didn't go very well. For their next movie, Dumbo, their main focus was generating income. It was produced at a greater speed than any other of their animated features. It wasn't enormously expensive, and it created a small profit for the company. The next film to start was Bambi, along with the early production stages of Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, and Wind in the Willows. Bambi was released at the beginning of World War II, but didn't earn back its budget due to lack of access to the European market that supplied 45% of the studio's income.
At the start of World War II, the Disney studio was $4.5 million in debt. Dumbo had helped a little bit, and so did the movies that the studio made for the Navy. But the draft took away 1/3 of his workers. Ward Disney advised Walt to cut expenses and staff even more, but Walt refused. During the war, the studio made thousands of movies for the U.S., and in 1945, Walt didn't wait around after finally making a profit. He started work right away, having recovered enough to get the studio to finish production of Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan, and began work on Cinderella. Cinderella did very well, Alice not so much. So Peter Pan came out 3 years later in 1953 and was praised by most critics for great animation while doing well at the box office.
The success and money of the films at the end of World War II gave Walt the workforce he needed in order for the next 3 animated films to come out of the studio: Lady and the Tramp in 1955, Sleeping Beauty in 1959, and 101 Dalmatians in 1961. They all did very well. After the huge box office success of 101 Dalmatians, the next movie, A Sword in the Stone, failed to meet expectations. Disney was concerned and resolved to keep a very close eye on the next big movie. The next film Walt produced was his last, The Jungle Book, in 1967. Walt died 10 months before it was released, but the movie received all positive reviews. It was a massive success, and it marked the end of the golden age of animation.
Under his leadership, the company grew from a tiny studio making mediocre cartoons to a full-fledged corporation. The studio's creative team was determined not to let up in the creation of quality films even after his death. They continue to make great animated movies that surpass all expectations. We asked some people who work for Disney today or have worked for the studio recently to tell us why Disney had such an impact on animation and how he has affected their lives as animators. I would say that the biggest impact Disney had on my life was the camaraderie that I developed with the people that I worked with. I worked on 9 feature films, various shorts, video games, and other subjects. But with all that said, the most important part of all of it was the friendships that I made.
I've enjoyed a wonderfully fulfilling and enriching life as a direct result of my employment with Disney. Not many people in this world can say that what they do for a living would be what most people would consider a hobby. I pinch myself quite often because this truly is a dream job.
It's hard to overstate, actually. I doubt I would have gotten into this line of work without Walt Disney. Pixar probably wouldn't exist. Monsters, Inc. and Up probably would have never been made. All because of some guy and a mouse.
I grew up watching Disney movies and TV and taking my family to Disneyland and Walt Disney World. I feel fortunate to experience the magic of Disney, and I hope that my contributions contribute in some small way to the magic Walt Disney's guests experience.
No other animators could ever duplicate the Disney Studio's lifelike characters and flair for storytelling. Disney was an innovator, perfecting his products and pushing his animators to do the same. He urged them to exceed expectations and change the medium itself. As a master organizer and administrator, he established a system where hundreds of animators and technicians regularly churned out high-quality, excellent, award-winning work. Through his bold, indomitable spirit and leadership, Walt Disney transformed animation for the better.